When I was younger, I always believed that there was a sense of completeness that I wanted to have on the basketball floor. And I always wanted to be my dad's house, 6'4". I always wanted to I was like, Dad, if I grow to 6'4", I'll be unstoppable. And what that did was it enabled me to find a happy medium between a 2 guard and a 1. Because my dad was a 2, but my Uncle Rod was a 1, and some of my favorite players were 1s. And then I also had Kobe, who was my favorite player. So I had a happy medium of I have to be able to shoot, I have to be able to handle, and then I have to be able to have a sense of just randomness, of being in control, but seeming out of control, to be able to kind of succeed past some of my opponents. I had to be unpredictable. I wasn't the quickest, I wasn't the most athletic, wasn't able to kind of finish over the rim, so I had to figure out things, how to get around the floor while still being effective in small spaces, as well as seeing the court from a wide perspective. So my handle, everyone always said, what did you do for your handle? I didn't sit there with 2 balls. I didn't sit there with tennis balls, throw them in the air and throw them up. I didn't do the whole reactionary testing. All I did was I took specific moves and I added combination after combination after combination to be prepared for any situation that I was going to be thrown in. So if I was going against, Ben was going against me tonight, and I'll have the long, lengthy defenders, I'll get some 6'6" and above guys that guard me. And then, so for that, I had to use my hand to create space. Then I'll get some smaller guys that'll try to get underneath me, like TJ, who will pick me up full court. And he picked me up full court tonight. And I was just like, come on, man. I'm zooming past. And I'm giving you a change of speed, and then I'm going to kind of keep you off balance. So I felt like I just need to have that completeness and having a tight handle.
Yeah. So I guess the thing is, though, you work on those combos. It's sort of like martial arts, counter after counter after counter. But I do that shit too in the summer. A lot of players do that.
Yeah.
So I'm what is the next thing? Because Undefeated did an article, Mark Spears did an article about you and your handle and your work with, I think it's Phil Handy, right?
Yeah.
Before every game, you do it, obviously. But you've had this handle since you were in high school, I assume, right? That's what you've been known for. So is it the mind-body connection? I think you're super low, with your dribble. You're lower than even I think about CP, Steph, Jamal. I'm gonna miss somebody that's also has a great handle, but those guys, the ball's on a string, but it's a higher string. Their yo-yo is less compact.
Yeah, and that right there is still tough to guard. But when I was introduced to Phil, now it was having the transition from being a great handler and being able to finish to being a great handler and being able to shoot, finish, pass. And that was the evolution of me being with Coach Handy. I call him my OG. He was helping me tighten up my game to be able to be effective all the time, rather than just having a crossover that looked really pretty, but not being able to cross over in this one particular move and not be able to shoot, dribble, or pass. So I was working on combinations when I was a kid, but I felt like my package was it was a lot slimmer. And then when I started working with Coach Handy, it grew and grew, because now I was able to work on the combinations and now get a shot off and now be able to pass and now be able to continue my dribble. So it was we were consistently working on it. And Al was there. My best friend was there when we worked out in Australia. And the first couple things that we were doing, I was like, what the hell are we doing? It was between, behind, shot. When I worked out, it was between. Okay, now you get to your jump shot. It was between, behind, in and out, layup. And I'm just okay, again. And then I was over there on my knees you want me to do all these moves? And we just built consistency over time. And then it got to the point where I felt so comfortable. Now we worked from in to out, being able to do it from mid-range and do it from long range. So being able to shoot off the dribble and keep people off balance. Oh, by the way, you have to have, and Melo always says this, you got to be able to have the newts, the newts. You got to have the newts to do it.
That was my next question.
Yeah, you got but I grew up around.
Okay. Because there's one thing, I feel when I really concentrate in the summer on my handle, I get a good 2 weeks in, right? I'll be doing my 1-on-0 moves and I'll be yeah, step back through it. You know what I mean? I'm oh my God, it feels so easy. And then I get to a pickup game and I'm I ain't doing that shit. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it. So part of it is, right, to have the guts to go out there and put these dribble combinations.
Mm-hmm.
I got a long
but
ways to go.
but you know the great
actually, hold on. Let me just. I'm gonna interrupt you for a second because it actually makes me so happy. It makes me so happy to hear you say that, like, you actually worked on your handle. Because Jamal used to say, I've never done a dribbling drill in my life, you know, and I'm just like, wow, that's so discouraging for me. That's so discouraging.
Oh man, yeah, but stuff like that though, you know, sometimes that comes natural though.
So the finishing though, like you and I can talk shooting, but like nobody cares. The finishing is the other superpower. Someone told me that whether it was your dad, maybe it was Phil, but like you would work on basically the shots we see, the left-handed like lean-ins off glass, the going up on the right side, finishing on the other side with the left. You had one against us. I think it was at home
underneath
with the right, on a back cut where you started on the right side. You brought it, never actually touched the ball with your left hand. You brought it to the other side of your face with your right hand and spun it backwards off the glass. First of all, where was the development in that part of your game? And then secondly, like I know you still are tightening up your handle, so you still work on that actively. You're still working on your shooting, obviously actively. You're still doing that every day. Yeah. You're working on your finishes, your floaters, all that.
Yeah. My dad came home one day. I was in 8th grade, and he was still in like his dress clothes, coming from work, and it was like this random day where I still remember like it was yesterday. He came outside and he was like, "Kyle, I want to show you some things," and he was still in his slacks and his dress shoes, and I'm like, "Okay, Dad." He saw I was working on my game, and I'll tell you about that by the way too in the foreshadowing. But my dad freaking never thought I was working on my game. He thought he would come home and I would run outside. Like when he came home, I was like, "Dad, how selfish of you to think that I cared enough about you coming home to see me work out." And then like, fucking selfish of you to think that I cared about your judgment that much about me working on my game. But he came home and he was like, "Okay, Kyle, I want to show you some things." And he showed me this first layup, and it was like, "All right, go up, show it with your left, bring it down, scoop it." I was like, "Dad, can you show me?" And he's in his slacks. He was like, "Go up with your left, bring it down, and then finish with your right. And then go up with your right and finish with your left." And at the time,
how old are you at this time?
I was in 8th grade.
8th grade, okay.
I was in 8th grade. And at the time, I wasn't athletic enough to have hang time to execute the move the way I wanted to. So he told me, he was like, "Kyle, when you get a little bit older, hang time develops a little, you become more athletic, a little bit taller, then this move will be effective." And from that point on, it was like I would be in my backyard, I would lower the rim, and I would, other than trying to dunk on my friends and play 21 or whatever, I would work on this show with the left, show with the right. And then I started working on going underneath the basket like Dr. J. Like when Dr. J took it and went underneath, and I was like, damn, I can't really grip the ball like him. So let me actually cup it and then work on it. And then let me be able to do it left. And then I started working on like, let me throw these high floaters up like that people won't expect off leg. And then I saw Steve Nash work out. And I was like, oh, Steve Nash is doing off leg. And I was like, damn, if a big's behind me and I could get it up there, if Steve Nash could do it, I'm like, I could do it too. And then I started working on Euros and then doing it. And then I started working on like being able to do it off pivots and off moves. And then it just started developing to a package. And then I just started curating that, culturing that.